We're going to call the meeting to order at this time. And with that, I'd like to say welcome. It is 6:30, Thursday, January 20th, in the year of 2022. This is our first council meeting this year. Happy New Year to everyone. So glad to see you here. And I will ask if everyone could stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Is that Siri? Who is that? Or is that some other lady? Is that Betty? Okay.
Marina, there you go.
Oh, okay, Marina. Okay, Diane, please let the record show all members of council are present.
Yes,
I
Mayor.
think
Well,
anyone we still have people online coming remotely, right? All right, so I think everybody knows those ground rules already and how to do that. So we'll proceed. I don't have a report because there was I didn't have a TPA meeting today, which normally we would have, but for some reason we're on break. Okay. So with that, I'm going to ask Jen, you start with reports.
thank you. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. I had the pleasure of going up to Tallahassee for Palm Beach County Legislative Day. I brought you all books of all the directory of the legislation. I spoke with our lobbyist, as well as Representative Wilhite and Senator Powell, about our appropriation for corporate pavilions in Commons Park. They are very supportive, as they usually are. They are a great representation for Royal Palm, so that's terrific. I also had the pleasure of meeting the new superintendent, Mike Burke, of schools, and
He was up there?
he was.
They said, I thought I read in the paper that he was ill.
Yeah, he got COVID right after that.
Oh, it was after that? Okay.
Yeah. Thank goodness I was wearing my mask, and he was wearing his mask when we were talking.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, he had very nice things to say about the Education Advisory Board and Royal Palm Beach Schools, and I invited him to come, not only to, I know he wants to come to the Education Advisory Board, but also to come and talk to us as well. So that was nice. That's all I have. That's my report for this week. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, good evening and Happy New Year to everybody. Feels like we've been saying that a long time. I guess that's because we have, but it's still a new year, no doubt about it. Speaking of which, Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, we've done that every year with partnership with CAFSI, and I was surprised to find out it was the 20th year that we've done that. And it was a really good program, as usual, well produced and put together and supported by the staff. And so congratulations to CAFSI, and thanks to the staff for all the good work they do and setting things up and making it happen. Speaking of Tallahassee, the Florida League of Cities have started their Monday morning call-ins to keep everybody posted on what's going on in the latest legislation, kind of progress that they're making, trying to either oppose or to make changes that would take away some of the sharp edges on some of these bills that are proposed at committee level, which is really, really important. So it's a good way to stay up to date. They start at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and easy to connect with, and they usually only last about 30 minutes, and there's a Q&A session, so you get a chance to weigh in and get answers to questions, and of course that serves as a call to action. So if there's anything that we can think of that we can throw into the mix so that the advocates up there, the staff, the legislative staff, can actually be very specific and clear about the actual impacts, that's helpful. So once again, every Monday from 9 usually to about 9:30, so well worth doing. Florida League of Cities has their legislative action days, which is kind of the follow-on to the Palm Beach County Day, and that's from February 8th and including the 9th. So I'm planning to go right now as it stands. We'll keep watching the pandemic and watch what happens up there, but hopefully will be able to participate, because that always turns out to be a good one. Florida League of Cities usually sets it up and gives us a good, complete, comprehensive overview, and then we usually wind up with Palm Beach County League of Cities doing the contacts with the individual legislators on specific issues. So it's another time to follow up on whether it's corporate pavilions or other initiatives that we've got here in Royal Palm Beach. It's also an opportunity about a month later to follow up on that. So we'll be doing that. Feeding South Florida, new year, new schedule. Instead of every Wednesday, we're now doing the first and third Wednesday of every month. Not sure exactly what the cause was, but we wound up with having skipped a Wednesday, now coming up on a third Wednesday, which we did yesterday. We had a longer line than we've ever had before.
I think there are other sites that was providing food are not operating any longer.
And that could very well explain it. It really, really was overwhelming on Wednesday. There are also some adjustments that probably need to be made in working with Feeding South Florida, and I think Lou and Mike are going to be working on that. But we're going to keep doing it, at least for the foreseeable future. There does seem to be a continuing need out there. I came across something, actually it popped up on Facebook, kind of interestingly enough, that a year ago today, we were over at the Capstone cutting the ribbon. And so, believe it or not, it's been 1 year since we've actually participated in the opening of that facility. And so I kind of followed up with them, and they have they did a big anniversary thing over there today. But I was curious to see how many residents they actually have, and they seem to be doing pretty good. They're at about 80% capacity. They've got 45 residents in the assisted living, and they have 17 in the memory care. So they seem to be doing well insofar as their residents and their occupation is concerned, but also just spending time over there. It's worthwhile going over. The staff really seems to care. It's a good facility. I'm sure our Inspired Living has the same capability. We've done a really good thing here bringing these two outstanding senior facilities to Royal Palm Beach. So I think we ought to feel good about that. And lastly, of course, the Florida Fair, South Florida Fair, opened up on Friday. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty successful fair. A lot of people turned out. In case you're interested in going, go on a Tuesday. They have $2 Tuesday. $2 will get you in, $2 will get you a ride, and $2 will get you food.
So they waived the $10 at the door fee? A lot of people have been complaining about that. Okay.
I know the parking, the $10 parking
well,
thing.
you show up, $10, get in, yeah.
I would like to think that that's thrown in there, but I double-checked on it online, and the only thing they signed up for was the admission, rides, and food. So I would like to think that the most irritating one, which is the $10 parking fee, would also be $2, but I don't know that for a fact. I reached out and got no response on it yet. So anyway, looks like it's worthwhile going. If nothing else, go to the maternity. What is it? Maternity area, right? Yeah. Everybody loves going and watching a baby cow being born, calf. For reasons that kind of escape me, but anyway, it's very popular.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the end of my report.
Live and in person. Okay. Richard.
The only thing I guess I would comment and follow up on what Jeff said about the Martin Luther King Day event, and I think I've been to every one of them but one, and times being what they are, I noticed physically people there. This is the lowest that it's been since I've been in the village. However, I was extremely happy with, as Jeff said, the way it was done, the production, everything was great, but it was also streamed online, so a lot of people could stay home and be able to watch and get the message. So I again, hats off to them, and I know this was Alette's last time, so Alette Cyrus, thank you very much for being you for so many years and bringing so much to our community. And that's all. Thanks.
She does a lot. It's amazing. Good evening, everyone. I would like to pass on condolences to Phyllis Katz's family. She passed away last week, and she's a longtime resident and volunteer with the village.
Yes.
So she was Yeah, on the member education. I mean, I'm sorry, the Recreation Advisory Board, as well as a board member of Young at Heart and a volunteer with them. So I'm sorry
At
again.
one point she was chair, wasn't she?
She was chair of Young at Heart, correct, and she's been chair of the Recreation Advisory Board too. So we will miss her. Youth basketball is up and running, and this is their first season since COVID started. So they're excited that the youth basketball program has started up again. Young at Heart is continuing their monthly lunches, and they do follow CDC guidelines. So they do max out to spread everybody out. So they do have a waiting list every month for it. They had a great. I'll tell you who he was. He was a singer, an impersonator, and I can't think of the name right now. But it'll pop up.
Neil Diamond.
Pardon me?
Neil Diamond.
No, it was.
Well, no, he was impersonating Neil Diamond, right? Yeah.
No, he was impersonating Paul Anka.
That you're right. It was
Yeah.
Paul Anka. Right
Baseball-
generation, wrong singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball will open their spring season on Friday, February 28th. Vital Tax Service is doing their free tax returns again in the village. That starts on Monday, January 24th, and that'll go through April 18th. And it's for those with an annual income equal or less than $68,000. So they're doing that over at the rec center again this year. Kayak and paddleboard rentals are available at Commons Park, and also at Commons Park they've switched now, so the concerts are the first and third Friday of every month. With tomorrow is the Andrew Morris Band, so it's a country band, and then every other Saturday, so the second and fourth Saturday of the month, are the movie nights, and Finding Nemo is next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cute one. The Daddy Daughter Dance is back again February 11th. That is from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Cultural Center, and it is $25 per person. We did talk about Feeding South Florida, and to date, they've distributed 3,120,928 meals at Commons Park. So that's since the inception. It was the number as of last Wednesday,
What was that number?
yesterday. 3,120,928.
That's impressive.
Yeah, when you think about that. Palm Beach County also distributed 5,000 COVID home tests there. They did that on a Wednesday at Commons Park. But also right at the entrance where the Harvard Center used to be, they're doing,
testing.
yep, the free COVID PCR tests continue. Mondays and Fridays from 9 to 5, and Wednesday from noon to 5. And then opening soon is the Parkside Cafe and Catering, and that's over at Commons Park. So that's over from the Sporting Center. So they're getting ready to open up that too. And that completes my report.
We got to go visit there and
You know, I had
Okay.
lunch at Seeds Cafe the other day. Very nice. By the way, that's
In-
one over at Veterans
in
Park.
Veterans?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent-
very nice.
excellent
Great
food.
staff.
Yeah.
They're a good group over
Is
there.
they have sit-down service?
They have
or-
sit-down
yeah.
service indoor and outdoor. So they have some
Okay.
patio and some bistro table seating
We-
outside.
We need to go there.
Yeah, it's from
Okay.
9 to 2, so it's that
Okay.
short time.
Great
But the
food.
food was very good.
Great
the staff
food.
is
Yep.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope they're successful. If the food is good, people will come. They'll, just to get those particular meals. Yeah. Okay. That's it? Right.
No report, Mayor.
Steve?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then that concludes our reports at this time. Petitions. Anyone here want to provide a petition for the council? Seeing none, I'm going to close the floor to petitions. On statements from the public on non-agenda items or consent agenda items, were there any advance statements received from the public on either of those?
No statements received, Mayor.
Do we have any hands raised, Ray?
No, Mayor.
No hands? Okay. I have not received any comment cards on non-agenda items or on consent agenda items, so I'm closing the public comment on non-agenda and consent agenda items. And with that, Diane, give us our consent agenda, please.
Yes, Mayor, I will. Thank you. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the council regular meeting of December 16, 2021. 2, approval and authorization to contract village telephone services and support from vendor Log Me In the amount of $66,883 to be paid in 36 monthly installments. Log Me In's Go-To Connect VoIP hosted solutions will replace current end-of-life Avia IP Office PBX telephone system. 3, adoption resolution number 2201, resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, adopting a revised schedule of fees and charges, specifically repealing resolution 2116, providing that this schedule of fees and charges shall be available for inspection at all times at the Village Hall during regular business hours, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Okay. Any questions from members on council concerning the consent agenda? Seeing none, then I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have no opposed. Diane, please show the consent agenda was approved 5-0. I just have one question, Ray. Do we know what the timeline is for the conversion to the new PDX system?
No, I do not, but I have Marina online. She can.
Is it appropriate for us to have an expectation that this will be, we won't notice a difference? It'll just happen smoothly?
That's my expectation. Yes.
Okay, just asking. I mean, I can tell you some stories. I've lived through. I've run projects in past years to do these things, and it can be interesting.
I thought that might have been a flashback for you.
Definitely.
I do know the last conversion we made to this phone many years ago was very smooth, so I'm going to assume that
I will
we'll do
tell
it
you,
again.
Maya is a very old system, man.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's been doing the job. Okay, we'll move forward. All right, we'll move to the regular agenda. Regular agenda item number R1 is a public hearing for first reading and approval of ordinance number 1022, amending chapter 26, zoning at section 26-22, definitions, and section 26-58, home occupations, to ensure all applicable village definitions, regulations for home occupations conform with recent changes in state law. Also amending chapter 23, traffic and vehicles at section 23-18, parking or storage of vehicles, recreational vehicles, boats, commercial vehicles, in residential districts to provide consistency between parking and home occupation regulations within the village. And I'm sure, Keith, you will explain this to us.
I'll do my best. Mayor and council, this is the big conforming ordinance for the one of the most significant preemption statutes from the 2021 legislative session. And that has to do with how local governments are able to regulate home occupations, which are defined as business activity that occurs in a residence, in a residential zoning district that is sort of a secondary activity to the primary use of the residence as a residence. So this has to do with things like I want to sell bundt cakes that I bake in my kitchen, or I want to be like a barber in my spare bedroom kind of thing, or whatever. But it has to do with, you live in your house and you work from home. Maybe you have a home office. It has to do with those types of things. So one of the biggest changes in terms of preemption, the new law generally says that we can regulate home occupations no differently or more restrictively than the same type of business would be regulated in a commercial zoning district. So that's sort of the general parameter. Then there are, drill into it and get to the specific things. So our code used to say you're not allowed to have any employees at a home if you had a home occupation. The first preemption to keep in mind, the law now says that while the home occupation has to be run by someone who lives in the house, you're also now allowed to have up to 2 employees who do not live in the house and can come in every day and work and then go back to their own homes. So that's one thing. We're still allowed. Here's the things we're still allowed to do. We're still allowed to charge a business tax, collect a business tax, and require a business tax receipt from a home occupation.
Okay.
We are still able to regulate traffic and parking issues. So whatever our parking codes are for any particular residential zone, those still apply. So to the extent you're not allowed to have, park commercial vehicles overnight, you're still not allowed to do that. To the extent you have a home occupation, you're not allowed to generate more traffic or create any more parking issues than a residence in the same zoning district could be allowed to create that doesn't have a home occupation. We're still allowed to regulate aesthetics in terms of, the house still needs to be a house. It can't look like a storefront. It has to look like a house. One of the changes has to, in terms of signage, the law says to the extent there are permissible signs that can be placed on a residentially zoned lot, a home occupation can enjoy those same regulations. So if they can't have more or bigger or different signs, but they're allowed to follow our sign code for residential properties, the same as a house without home occupation. We are still allowed to regulate nuisance type activity, noise, odor, vibration. We're allowed to restrict or prohibit the storage of toxic chemicals and hazardous materials on the property. So all of that we're still able to do. We're not allowed to, we can still have like an annual inspection to make sure that it complies with zoning and other minimum property standard type regulations, but we can't have our own home occupation permit. We can't, again, the employee thing, we're not allowed to prohibit employees any longer. And generally, a home occupation has to be you can't restrict you can't place greater restrictions on that business than you would place on a business in a commercially zoned property, other than what I've explained. So, that is, this ordinance brings village code into conformance with the current state law for home occupations. Those laws are already on the books at the state level. This simply brings our local code in line with those state laws that were passed in the 2021 session.
Okay. Before we take comments from council, do we have any advance public comments on this
No,
agenda
Mayor.
item? Ray, do we have any hands raised for agenda item R1?
No, Mayor.
Okay. I do not have any comment cards submitted, so therefore I'm going to close public comment on agenda item R1 and take comments from members of council.
I have a few questions, and we briefly spoke about this, but so I understand we're changing our code to meet with state code, so we're doing this, but how does this affect those that we talked about whether it's Avon, Pampered Chef type of businesses. You had mentioned, kitchen, so can I put a commercial kitchen or equipment in my kitchen and run it that way if I want to now start a catering company? How does that affect those that have home offices or businesses now?
So again, assuming it's a business that is secondary to the use of the property as a residence, that's the first criteria for this to be considered a home occupation. I live in my house, but as a secondary activity, I have this home office or this side business that I run out of my house. So in terms of your Pampered Chef example, if that is a business, then they should be paying a business tax, getting a business tax receipt, and the activity that generates, just like any other home business, should not be creating traffic or parking conditions that are different than their next door neighbor is allowed to create under the residential zoning who doesn't have a home business. So
Okay.
that's the best way I can answer that. They have no latitude to create greater parking or traffic conditions than their neighbors do who don't run a business.
You don't run a business. And then we do have those that have become, for lack of a better term, auto repair centers where they leave their car, they're working on it in the front, they're making that as a business. I mean, are those affected by this, or are they still?
If we already allow that use, this doesn't take away anything that someone's allowed to do, but what this says is that if you have a home occupation, the business activity has to occur in the residence.
Right, so I'm in my driveway, I'm working on the car, you're dropping your car off, I'm
If
changing the oil and tuning up the transmission.
if village code already allows that activity to occur, this doesn't take away from that.
Okay,
So that wouldn't change.
all right. So then if I do, those that have their home businesses in there, as long as they don't create undue traffic,
Can't create
the
traffic
village,
or parking issues. They
then they're
can't
fine.
change the aesthetics of the residence. It's got to still be your
A home.
residence.
okay.
Correct.
So it excludes then all the other ones, whether it's an Airbnb, assisted living facility.
Right. So
or-
those are not uses where you live in your house and you're running a rehab out of a back bedroom, or you're running your house and you're renting a short-term rental out of that's
Different.
different. That is not a home occupation. So
Okay.
that is handled.
So that's
And
from a
there's different,
Yeah,
different
different-
ordinances. and
Right.
laws that
Right.
cover that.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's licensing requirements for those, and that's not a home occupation. By definition, that's something
Sounds
else.
different. Okay, thank you.
I was just going to mention that one of the things that Florida League of Cities advocacy does is it tones down some of the extreme. And Keith just gave an example. Originally, this bill that's now Florida statute said basically you can't do anything different from what you do with a commercial area. And of course, you can see now we do have some latitude. We're able to take actions to prevent annoyances and things of that nature in a residential area. Otherwise, we initially had started out like you can't do anything different insofar as requiring things or limiting functions of businesses in a commercial area than you could in residential. And that would have opened things wide.
I think they play the game sometimes. Let's be totally extreme to
And
get to
then-
the middle, which is where we really want to be.
Might very well, but anyway, the Florida League of Cities was reporting on this thing all last year, and what they were doing was little by little, they were
Chipping away.
pushing in some home rule capabilities, which
Oh, yeah.
which is part of what we get from that.
One more
Yeah.
question about another occupation, following Selena's lead. What about I want to start a swimming lesson business in my
Ah.
backyard?
Here we go with that again.
Okay, so you have a swimming pool in your backyard, and you want to offer swimming lessons to other people in your. Well, so first of all, you would have to run that business. Under this statute, you could have two other employees, whether they're administrative or instructors,
Right.
come and do that. Now, you would have to regulate your clients in terms of how many show up at the same time, in terms of traffic and on-street and off-street parking. So that you'd have to be cognizant of that. And then
Yeah.
if that turned out where you had 10 cars in your driveway and parking on the street, that would become an enforcement issue.
Sure. And you mentioned one of the things is the nuisance piece and the noise. So I know that noise was a problem before. Is what's now the new definition of noise in a commercial?
Our noise ordinance does not change. This does not give anybody latitude to violate our noise ordinance. So if, in your example, if the people you're teaching to swim are yelling and screaming, and it's violating our decibel levels or our loud and raucous standards,
Yeah.
that would be a violation.
Gotcha. Okay, it's good to know.
But it wasn't noise. That wasn't the issue. But we won't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that. I know you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay, well, if there are no further comments or questions from members on council, look for a motion.
Motion to approve regular agenda item number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no opposed. Diane, please let the record show agenda item R1 was approved 5-0. First reading. Okay? All right, agenda item R2 is approval and authorization for the mayor to execute the Second Amendment to Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions for Track 115 to modify Article 1, Use of Property, to allow the village council approval of an expansion of uses allowed on the property to include coffee shops with drive-through, drive-up automobile service windows on track 115 and confirmation and conformance with Article 5, reservations of rights of the declaration. Boy, this is, how do we say this in English now?
So as directed by the council at our last meeting, we have prepared an amendment to the Tract 115 covenants that will, in addition to financial institutions, allow a drive-up for a coffee shop. We have provided a definition for what is a coffee shop. Bradford's office has reviewed that definition, and they believe it is in conformance with best practices for what a coffee shop is generally defined to be in the planning and zoning world. So that is what this proposes to do for you.
So an example of this would be, this would permit a Starbucks.
Correct.
For a drive-through.
Yes, sir.
Does the applicant want to make any comments? We haven't voted on it yet. So
My name's Patrick Albright.
hold it. I stand corrected. He's not an applicant.
He's a requester.
He's a requester. Let the record show we have a requester, not an applicant. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Patrick Albright. I live at 5308 Lake Osborne Drive, and I just did some basic, research here to find out, because originally those two parcels were site plan approved for two high-volume drive-through banks at one time. So what we're doing now is proposing a drive-through on our site. It was brought to my knowledge that the other site that nobody knew what was happening has been sold and is going to be office space. So no bank going on the back out parcel. That's going to be office space. So this would be the only parcel that would be, would have, that kind of traffic. So, and based on the research that we did, a Starbucks and a bank do about 500 customers a day, more or less. They're basically about the same amount of volume. So, but, I think that's about all I needed to, to put on it. So the uses that we're, asking for to put that a drive-through would overall bring less traffic, which I think was the overall concern for it. So, and now that, all of the parcels have something that's being proposed on, everybody should have a clear picture of what would be going on those sites at this point. So if that helps at all, if anybody has any questions.
All right. Thank you. Sure. Go ahead.
Since we made this very specific, have you had conversations with the particular business that you've had? Is there favorable that they wanted to move forward as long as this goes through?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're pretty much putting it on us to do, but they did provide us with a parking demand statement. I guess it was a study that they had did.
Not a letter of intent.
No. Well, we had it it was under contract at one time, but then when they came in here, they got not such a warm welcome, so they went on to other things. So, but they did do a parking statement here as if everything is as what it was. So it has excess parking. So it has excess parking too. So there is a study for that. So.
Right.
No, we don't. We had it under contract. It's out of contract. They know that we're working on this, but it's up to us to pretty much get it through.
Just because it is very specific the way the wording is. So
Right.
just want to make sure they're still
I
interested,
understand.
so
I
we're
mean,
not-
we would like to have the restriction taken
Right.
down altogether, drive-through. We would prefer to have it, but if we can get it just for a coffee shop, I mean, that's what we'll take.
And that particular business is still interested in
Yes.
the location. Gotcha.
Plus, we have another one actually that just kind of popped up too. So, yeah. Well, what it is, it's a developer for Starbucks. So they develop for Starbucks, but there are other developers that develop for Starbucks. So you could have several developers competing for this site. So.
Well, okay. Anything you do is fine as long as it's Starbucks. Okay.
Well, it's not going to be a Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah. Well,
I think we should bring in a Cafe Du Monde, but that's just me.
Any other questions?
Well, now, that was helpful, though, the research that you did.
Okay, all right.
Giving evidence to the likelihood of the traffic not being any different
It's
from what
going
it's
to be
currently.
a lot less than it would have been had they had developed it with two banks.
Okay,
You know.
that's helpful.
And
Thank
the
you.
volume of the banks back in 1991, that's when this was all approved. Can you imagine everybody went to the banks back then on a Friday? The lines would have been just, now
Right.
today they don't do that, but back then
Right.
it would have been, quite a busy parking lot.
Jan,
Okay. Thank you.
you have anything? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Did I ask for public comment on this? I did? Did not. Diane, did I ask for public
You
comment?
did not.
Okay, having not asked, I'm asking now. Any advance comments?
No advance
The public?
comments.
No? Ray, any hands raised?
No, Mayor.
Okay. So Starbucks is not on the call.
No, they are not.
Okay, I have no comment cards submitted for agenda item R2. Therefore, I'm going to close public comment on agenda R2. Unless there's additional questions, comments from members on council, I'll look for a motion.
I'll move to approve regular agenda item number 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no opposed. Okay, Diane, please let the record show that agenda item R2 was approved 5-0. All right, so now you do your part. Okay, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, agenda item R3 is approval and authorization for the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with Palm Beach County regarding airport zoning regulations. Wow, Keith, you're up again.
So this is been a strategic plan item for the last couple of years, and we finally are bringing it in. I'm going to say it, bringing it in for a landing.
Whoa! Good job, Keith. I like that.
So in 2019, the law changed, or the law went on the books at the state level to require this interlocal, either an interlocal agreement as we're proposing, or the creation of an airport zoning board, which seems a little heavier lift than doing an interlocal agreement. What this would do, this would be an agreement between the village and the county regarding zoning regulations that have to do with impacting air traffic that flies over the village. Realistically, I mean, height may be something, but even over Royal Palm Beach, the planes they're still up pretty high. Regardless, this basically would say that we're going to agree to enforce and maintain our airport zoning regulations. They're going to agree to do theirs, and to the extent that the zoning comes into effect with any particular development application, the village's development process is what will be used. We would notify the county, hey, we have this application that touches on this particular portion of our zoning code. The county would have an opportunity to make comments. On the other side, the county would advise the village anytime that they're dealing with the FAA or Department of Transportation on airport issues. No, today we don't have any airport zoning, but that ordinance has been drafted, and I believe it's beginning its journey through LPA, and you'll be seeing that next month, I believe. But it's pretty straightforward. Again, I don't think it has much more than height issues in terms of airport impact.
So right now, we don't have anything in place, but now we're going to this. What's the reason for establishing this new,
The 2019 law that
another law that
yeah,
the legislature passed?
correct, and I will tell you that we've been working on this since then. And actually, Miss Ashton was working on this, and the holdup was not with the village. The holdup was with other parties, and they've finally given informal. Yes, we're good with this proposed interlocal. This is modeled after a Palm Springs interlocal agreement with the county for the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
Another preemption
So we'll
mandate type of thing.
we'll wait to see the document that you guys are coming forth with and take a look at that. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a mechanism included in this for us, the village, to receive complaints? from citizens?
I did not see that. I don't recall seeing that. And it may be that,
I did not see that, but if the airport has a way of dealing with that, they would be calling them directly anyway.
They would call the airport direct.
Right.
Well, there's also a committee that is established and run by the airport, which is, I think it's called the Aviation Noise Abatement Committee. That does exist, and it's been in place for a long, long time. And that there is a complaint mechanism that you can go online and actually find the form, submit the complaint. They've got sound detection devices located throughout the county and along the different approaches and that kind of thing to the airport, and they're supposed to be monitoring it. But that is a mechanism that is available, and like I said, you can go online and file a complaint and follow up on it, because these committees meet on a regular basis. So, and it's run by the airport.
All right. Anything else?
not
All right,
necessarily-
so we have to vote on this and to approve.
Tonight is
entering
just the
interlocal
interlocal agreement.
Okay. Do we have any advanced comments on agenda item R3? Ray, any raised hands on agenda item R3?
No, Mayor.
Okay, I have not received any comment cards on agenda item R3. Therefore, I'm closing public comment on that agenda item. Unless there are additional questions or comments from council, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve regular agenda item R3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no opposed. Diane, please let the record show agenda item R3 was approved. And I think that concludes our agenda this evening. Thank you all.